Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Williamsburg, Virginia. Today's senior day meet between the William and Mary and Bridgeport Gymnastics teams. I'm Kevin Copp, joined by Christina Chauvenet. Christina, a little bit unusual when you have the home opening meet also double as senior day, but that is how the schedule has worked itself out for William and Mary, and they've got a great opportunity here on their home floor to try to keep their momentum going with about a month left in the regular season.
Absolutely. I think William and Mary is going to be really excited about the trajectory that they are coming off of their season high 192.775 that they got against Alaska last week.
Well, two teams that compete in the GEC and actually will be competing for a GEC title on this floor. William and Mary is the host for the 2023 GEC Championship, and we'll get a measuring stick of where these teams stand about a month out from that championship as they get set to compete in a dual meet here on Saturday afternoon. Take a break and bring you the march-in and team intros, the national anthem, and Christine and I will rejoin you as we get set for the first rotation with William and Mary on vault and Bridgeport on bar. Should be a great one on this Saturday afternoon. Stick around.
Be on the lookout for today's meet. If a side gymnast is a 9.7 or above, that athlete will throw out his serve. Make sure you get loud to get it served. William and Mary Gymnastics would like to thank the Friends of William and Mary Gymnastics and Virginia Beer Company for providing today's beer garden. The beer garden is located on the stage in the end zone and is open to all 21 and older. Please follow the signage located throughout the hallways to make your way to the stage. The beer garden is operating with cash and Venmo. For the safety of today's gymnasts, flash photography is prohibited at today's meet. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to today's meet featuring the Bridgeport Purple Knights and your William and Mary Tribe. It's time to meet today's competitors. First, let's meet the Purple Knights from Bridgeport. Aucoin, Nicole Chauvenet, Tyranny Milligan, Hannah Berry, Lola Sepulveda, Olivia Imbarlina, Skylar Volchev, Maggie Coyle, Rion Tompkins, Jordan Streete, Abigail Kenney, Madeline Vile, Taylor Rendina, Molly McAlee, Joanna Chambers, Quinn Aiken, Kieran Ross, Brooklyn Weingart, Savannah Lindley, and Alexis Richards. The Purple Knights are coached by assistant coaches Mark Sorrentino and JC Lee, and head coach Lorraine Gallagher. And now, fans, get on your feet for your William and Mary Try. And now for the try, a senior from Troy, Michigan, Abby Carpenter. A junior from Bristol, Virginia, Sophia Huang. A senior from Salt Lake City, Utah, Sarah Brownstein. A sophomore from Providence, Rhode Island, Avery Bernier. A freshman from Sacramento, California, Michelle No. A sophomore from St. Louis, Missouri, Anne-Marie Kubler. A senior from New Kensington, Pennsylvania, Keegan Schaefer. A freshman from Mesa, Arizona, Lily Walker. A sophomore from Wheaton, Illinois, Sarah Wozniak. A junior from Aberdeen, New Jersey, Grace Costello. A sophomore from Manchester, Michigan, Sophie Chandler. A sophomore from Oakwood, Ohio, Caitlin Dowd. A sophomore from Oak Hill, Virginia, Catherine Baer. A freshman from Norwell, Massachusetts, Brandon Toronto. A freshman from Herndon, Virginia, Hannah Burke. A freshman from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, Ascha Laird. A sophomore from Wenham, Massachusetts, Carolyn Blatchford. A sophomore from Naperville, Illinois, Sarah Kuper. A senior from Aurora, Illinois, Amanda Jackson. And a senior from Cary, North Carolina, Emma Wiley. The Tribe are coached by assistant coach Brittany Evans and head coach Kelsey Hinton. And now, fans, at this time, we ask that you please rise and kindly remove your caps as we honor the United States of America, its freedom, and those who protect it at home and abroad with the playing of our national anthem. And then please remain standing for the playing of Lift Every Voice.
full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
At this time, please head to your first event to prepare for touch warm-up. The purple light will be starting.
Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Copp, Christina Chauvenet with you here as we take a look at this afternoon's competition order for this dual meet between William & Mary and Bridgeport. William & Mary, the home team, will move in home order. They'll start on vault, move to the uneven bars, balance beam, and finish on floor. Bridgeport will start on bars, move to vault, floor, and then finish on balance beam. And Christina, as we mentioned, William & Mary getting to compete at home for the first time, so getting that home order or Olympic order for the first time in back-to-back days. They'll be back at it tomorrow against Fisk, and excited to see what this William & Mary team can do here at home for the first time.
Yeah, and it's going to be an exciting time looking at their vault lineup. They have been competing a lineup of mostly Yurchenko layouts. We do know that a couple of their athletes are training some of those twisting vaults in the tuck position and in the laid out position. So interesting to see what we see there, because that can really bump up their scores if they can get some of those higher start value vaults in the lineup.
I'd love to see if they can get off to a good start this afternoon as Bridgeport will draw the uneven bars in our first rotation, which is just a few minutes away. And we'll stick with Bridgeport here and talk about our visitors as they get ready to go. And Christina, they are led by Lorraine Gallo, who has had a lot of work to do rebuilding this Bridgeport team that was really one of the preeminent powers in the sport at their level, and now competing against Division I teams in the GEC. She's got her work cut out for her, but this has been a team that has been on the upswing in their last few meets this season.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the trajectory. They opened with a 186. Their most recent meet against Southern Connecticut and Yale, their season high, 191.325. So really strong building blocks there. It is going to be a challenge for them starting on bars because they didn't have a great performance there last week. So if they can get off to a good start there, they're moving to some other events that are really strengths for them.
Yeah, and you can look at the season averages still below a 190. It's in that 189 range, low 189 range, and that's because they're carrying two really low scores with them. We're still calculating rankings by season average right now, but this is going to be a team. There's teams all across the country that are going to benefit from the switch to the NQS formula, which is a composite of your top 6 scores, 3 of which need to be on the road. And Bridgeport's going to be very eager to drop that 185, 186 out of that average, get those numbers out of there. They've been in the 191s the last couple weeks. They'll want to push that even higher, obviously, if they hope to compete for a GEC title. But this is a team making progress in the right direction as we look at their projected lineup on bars, and they will begin with Abigail Kenney, followed by Kieran Ross. Lola Sepulveda, Olivia Imbarlina will be 4th. Aucoin will be 5th, and Joanna Chambers in the anchor spot. We'll also see exhibitions from both teams throughout the competition this afternoon, and Savannah Lindley will be in the exhibition spot here on bars for Bridgeport. Now looking at William & Mary as they go through their touch warm-up on vault. Christina, they are led by Kelsey Hinton, and you talk about improvement and progress. We certainly have seen that for William & Mary this season. In fact, they've got the enviable trajectory of every score this year has been higher than the one that preceded it, and they would badly love to keep that trend going here this afternoon.
Absolutely. So just like Bridgeport started out that season with a score in the 180s, they took a road trip to Alaska, got 2 scores in the 190s, 192.775. That score, their second score at Alaska. So, when we talked to Coach Kelsey Hinton before the meet, she said they do want to push for that 193, but trying not to overthink the scores, really just focusing on getting those routines out there, hitting 24 for 24.
And remember that this is their first competition of the year at home, but it also doubles as senior day. It is a double meet weekend here, and on back-to-back days, Christina, it was interesting to hear Kelsey Hinton talk about what her approach was. The team actually met with a sports psychologist this week to talk about kind of the mental rigor of having to compete on back-to-back days, and basically she summed it up by saying, so what? You've got to get out there and do it, and they're planning to seize the moment here as we look at William & Mary and their vault lineup. Sophie Chandler will get the afternoon started for William & Mary, followed by Grace Costello, Sarah Kuper up third, Hannah Burke fourth, Sophia Huang is fifth, and Emma Wiley is in the anchor spot. As we mentioned, exhibitions all throughout the competition this afternoon. Ascha Laird will be in the exhibition position, for William & Mary here on vault.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting. As we talked about, there's a couple of athletes that we know are capable of doing some of those twisting vaults. So we'll see Emma Wiley capable of doing the tuck full. Sarah Kuper also training that Yurchenko half. We will see Sophia Wong doing the full twisting Yurchenko, so getting those start values in that higher range.
Yeah, and a lot of the conversation today, Christina, I think is we kind of naturally hit back half of the season. This is almost the unofficial kickoff, I think, to the home stretch of the regular season all across the country. And when you're getting ready for a major conference competition like the GEC is, and there's a couple of GEC teams that have just been lights out this year. I mean, the work that Penn has done, a couple of the Ivies, Penn and Brown in particular, have been outstanding. And yeah, if you're a team in this middle of the conference range right now, William & Mary, Bridgeport, that's one of the big keys to, if you're going to push yourself toward the top of the conference standings, being able to add some extra tenths or half tenths to those start values on vault, could be the difference between finishing in the middle of the pack and being able to challenge some of those top teams.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about the Yurchenko layouts, those are starting at a 9.75. Even if you're doing the tucked full, that's a 9.9. So that's a tenth and a half right there. So adding some of those, whether it's the tucked full, Yurchenko halves, or even that laid out full, that's going to make a big difference as they push towards postseason. And remember, Bridgeport also eligible for USAG Nationals. That is the national championship for Division II and Division III teams that are not in the NCGA. Also, Ivy Leagues can compete in that. So that's another postseason opportunity for Bridgeport that they're looking to qualify for.
Yeah, and so those are just some of the benchmarks here as both teams get ready to conclude their opening touch warm-up. Those are some of the benchmarks that they are building toward. And, I think this is, as we said, a great time right now with about 4 weeks left in the regular season. The GECs are going to be held in exactly 1 month's time, Saturday, March 18th, right back here on this floor. And I think that's part of what makes this afternoon so valuable. William & Mary, you only get 2 shots on your home floor all season. It's not like some teams that are going to get 6, even 7 home meets this year. So you want to use this time to get as comfortable as you can in this arena. And same thing if you're Bridgeport. You're going to be back here in a month's time competing for a conference title. Get a feel for the lights, the layout, the crowd, the way it sounds, the way it feels. I think this is a very valuable experience potentially for both teams.
And the equipment. I mean, equipment feels different in these different arenas. Some floors are springier than others, and how that all feels. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Great opportunity for Bridgeport to get a feel for this and what's going to be the GEC championships. And this second year of the GECs, I think it's such an exciting conference to watch. I think it's a good change in college gymnastics to bring those teams together. Really high level of gymnastics happening in this conference.
Absolutely, and again, Bridgeport and a couple other of those Division II programs or USAG level programs, there's nothing to stop them from getting in and competing and finishing ahead of and knocking off some of those D1 teams in that conference. So certainly something to keep an eye on as we get ready for the competition to begin here. And Sophie Chandler is going to get to lead off for William & Mary in front of this home crowd here in Williamsburg and get the meet started for William & Mary.
And I believe we're going to see a Yurchenko layout from her. Nice job. She got nice block off that table. Did have some piked at hip angle throughout. So in those laid out vaults, we want the hip angle to be completely extended, but solid start for William & Mary.
As Christina noted earlier in our conversation about start values, that will start at a 9.75, and you'll take the deductions down from that level. Chandler's high score this season is a 9.55, so 0.2 worth of deduction there, and we'll see what that does to start off the competition as Abigail Kenney will get ready to open things up for Bridgeport with the first bars routine of the afternoon.
Looking into it.
Keeping an eye here as the scores come up for Sophie, Chandler. Grace Costello will be next up in the William & Mary vault lineup. And Christina, you mentioned that she is one of those gymnasts in this lineup that is working on those vault upgrades. Don't know that we're going to see it this afternoon, but expected at some point later on this season.
Yeah, and I think that, when we talked to Coach Hinton, she said when they're gonna see how they feel about when they put those upgrades in, when the athletes are feeling really good about them. Very smart decision. Lots of gymnastics left to go in this season. So I agree. I don't think we're going to see that twisting vault today, but always interesting to see the layout version because you can see the potential for the upgrade in there. So we'll look for the height that she gets off the table in this vault.
You can see the scores coming in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and opening 9.425 for Sophie Chandler, and unfortunately, just due to a technical issue inside the arena, not able to show you the routine for Abigail Kenney, but we will get you updated on the scoring as we get ready for the second William & Mary vault, which will be Grace Costello momentarily.
And does the tuck full. Good for her. I think that's the first time she's done that this season. Nice position overall. Maybe just could have had a little bit more chest up on landing, but good to see her twisting that vault around. Really nice technique throughout.
And again, to echo your point, Christina, you're taking those deductions from such a higher place to get that all the way up to 9.9. And her season high is 9.525, but that's coming off of that 9.75 start value on the Yurchenko layout. So already I think that will pay dividends here as we await the score for Costello. And now we get to check in on Bridgeport over on the uneven bars. Waiting on an opening score for Abigail Kenney. This is Kieran Ross, who will be up second for Bridgeport.
And Ross making such a big contribution for Bridgeport, competing in the all-around. She's really known for her floor and beam work, but contributes on all four events as well. Really nice Orkina release move there. Don't see that very often. Oh no, I jinxed her, I think. Just struggle went over there on her handstand. A nice recovery with that double back dismount. Did have some errors in that handstand. She arched over and then in the transition, but I love to see the Orkina release move. Do not see that very often in NCAA gymnastics, so just needs to clean up the middle of that routine.
Is following an opening score 9.5 for Abigail Kenney, which is an excellent start for Bridgeport. That's a season best score for Kenney. We'll see if that trend might continue here later on in the lineup. Kieran Ross, her high score this season is a 9.4. Meanwhile, William & Mary, as you see in the top right of your screen, is open 9.425. Then Costello upgrading that vault to a 9.525, matches her season high score. And getting ready to compete third for William & Mary is Sarah Kuper.
And I gotta say, 9.525 feels a little low to me for that vault. I probably would have had that at a 9.6, not maybe 9.65. Oh, just team in a little lock leg. Looks like she's all right, which is good. But again, one of those athletes, they are debuting these upgrades here, which is really great to see. Again, I think she opened up a little early for that landing, and that's probably why it looked to me like she landed a little bit lock leg. But yeah, William and Mary's really pushing this difficulty. Maybe Coach Hinton was hinting at it, no pun intended, but then didn't let us know which ones we would see, and looks like they're putting all the difficulty out there.
And I thought she seemed the most confident that Costello on the Yurchenko tuckful was ready. It sounded like, just kind of parsing the words, that Kuper, and at this point we may also see one from Emma Wiley in the anchor position, who's also training that tuckful. We're a little bit further off, and Christina, that upgrade in particular, going from the layout to the layout half, I mean, that's a change in terms of, that's now a blind landing that you're contending with as well. So I mean, that's a major difference just in terms of the way it looks and feels in the air too for
absolutely
for competition.
But it does add 2/10 of difficulty, so that's starting out of that 995, the half. So again, really, really nice to see that. And I think it's great for Coach Hinton, to let her athletes lead, and when they feel their upgrades are ready to debut, and make sure they're comfortable with when they're going out.
And you can see as the score comes up there for Kuper, it's a 9.525. So, even though there are some technical elements to clean up because of that higher threshold where you're starting the deductions from, that's now a season best vault score for Kuper. So you've got, 2 out of your 3 season high scores here for William and Mary, or matching season high scores to start things off, which is very encouraging for William and Mary. Meanwhile, you see the 8.55 for Kieran Ross. So that will be the number that Bridgeport would love to drop, obviously. If they can hit their next 4 routines, drop that score from Ross, and maintain somewhere in that mid 9.5 to 9.7 range, hopefully, with some of these remaining bars routines. Up third is Lola Sepulveda,
who we will also see in the all-around today. Big Tkachev. It lost a little momentum in that backswing, but nice in the air. And just some form breaks on that transition to low bar. Just some form and some short handstands throughout that routine, including on that final full turn. But she really did do a good job of fighting through those and got them back on the right trajectory.
Go over to vault now. Hannah Burke up 4th.
And nice Yurchenko layout there. Again, a little bit of pike in the hips. But really controlled the landing nice and got good distance as well.
2 left for William and Mary now on vault. Sophia Huang, the Yurchenko layout full, and then Emma Wiley, where we may see an upgraded vault in that anchor position. Back over to bars now, where up 4th for Bridgeport will be Olivia Imbarlina, waiting on our score from Sepulveda's routine.
And she's capable of really nice score here, season high of 9.7 on this event.
Yeah, the back half of this Bridgeport lineup can certainly score. Imbarlina, Aucoin, and Chambers have all been 9.7 or above this season.
I mean, her last name is Imbar. This is a natural bar specialist, so.
Well, of course.
You got this, Laird. Pick it up, Laird. Go hard, just like practice.
And you can hear her teammates in the background yelling, just like practice, do normal. That's a theme for a lot of these teams. Keeping it loose, doing what they do in the gym every day.
That was something, as we talked with William and Mary head coach Kelsey Hinton, that she was describing as well. And, that's always the magic ingredient, right, for the coaches to try to figure out, is to take that work that you're doing in the gym, where I think coaches tend to see a lot more consistency, and how to replicate that on the competition floor, especially, for William and Mary on their home floor, where, you want to take advantage of the moment, but you don't want to try to do too much. You've got your home crowd, you've got all that adrenaline and energy. You don't want that to start turning into doing something different than you're doing day in, day out.
Absolutely.
And 9-3-2-5 is the score for Sepulveda, and that will count for Bridgeport, trying to drop that earlier 8-5-5 from Ross. And here is Olivia Imbarlina.
And does that toe on into Tkachev. Difficult combination. I would like to see a bit more height on the Tkachev. Oh, gosh. Just didn't have the swing coming in. I believe she was trying to do a full pirouette. Let's see if she goes for it again here. Oh, just could not get those. The release elements are what are high flying and off to catch attention, but these pirouetting elements, really difficult, require a lot of strength and control. And once your momentum gets a little bit off in that sequence, it's really difficult to correct. So the issue here now is that they already have a score in the 8s, and so she's probably trying to repeat this so that she can't, just going with the double back, smart decision, because she needs a dismount in order to complete the routine. She will get a deduction for not being up to the level. Remember, you need to do a D or E dismount or a D dismount in combination, and just the double back does not eat that up to the level, but still, smart decision, gets the dismount, finishes the routine.
And comes down to saving tenths as we go back now to William and Mary.
Gosh, and just did not get the block off the table to get that full twisting tucked Yurchenko around. Sophia Huang there for William and Mary.
Yeah, and a bit of a missed opportunity there, unfortunately, for William and Mary. Talking about these upgrades and some of this higher scoring, Huang has been doing Yurchenko full in the laid out position, that highest start value on the team of 9.95, and so unfortunately, to take a fall there. If they get one hit vault from Wiley, which you hope that you can count on from your anchor, you can drop that and minimize the overall opportunity to put out a higher score there from Huang's vault.
Yeah, absolutely. But, she's, sometimes you have off days. She is a strong vaulter. And so probably just didn't feel right on the table. Vault happens so fast. So if you're not getting the block right where you want it, just didn't quite have the momentum to get that around.
So one more vaulter left on the competition lineup for William and Mary. That will be Emma Wiley. And we have 2 left for Bridgeport before we get to our exhibitions. And next up will be Catherine Aucoin. And big routines right now for Aucoin and Chambers, because you have those issues. You're going to have to count a lower score than you would have liked, depending on what Imbarlina's scores here, either carrying this one or the 8.55 from Kieran Ross. So now it's important just to save every tenth you can to try to put up some big numbers and keep yourself in shouting distance here early, as it looks like William and Mary was likely to have the lead at the end of one rotation.
Yeah, and seeing an 8-1 flash, at least for one of the judges, 8-0-5-0. She really got clobbered there because of her dismount series. She lost the bonus, as well as did not get up to the level.
All right, so here is Kat Aucoin up 5th.
Nice Ginger. Really pretty form in that Ginger. Some leg separation on that pack salto, but gosh, she is fighting through this routine. Was a little off on that half turn. Wow. Good for her, because she had some struggles getting up to handstands and a few momentum pieces in there, but you could definitely tell she was fighting through that. I love to see that grit in an athlete coming back from a couple of falls from her teammates.
And Aucoin's a veteran in this Bridgeport lineup. She's been in there for a number of years, and that's what you count on and really what you expect, especially in a pressure spot with some lower than expected scores early. And now finishing up for William & Mary on vault, Emma Wiley.
A nice body position overall in that Yurchenko layout. And, you know, one of those spots that maybe is up, maybe we'll see upgraded later in the season, because she does get really nice rise off the table, and that's what you want to see if you're going to upgrade that ball. But good for her, so they won't have to count that fall from Sophia Huang.
Yeah, more than anything else, or more immediately relevant there is exactly what you said, Christine, getting to drop that 8-8. The count, every score 9-4-2-5 or above is we expect that's where Wiley's will come in here. So you minimize the damage and you get to the rest of those events.
Yeah, Kevin, but I love an upgrade, so I always want to see what they got in the tank,
Well, that's the beauty of a double meet weekend, Christine. You might only have to wait 24 hours. We might get to see it tomorrow.
There you go.
All right. Bars for Bridgeport now. Joanna Chambers getting ready in the anchor position. Really talented bars worker for Bridgeport. She's got 9.75 this season. And Bridgeport, the Knights would certainly aim for that right now to try to finish this rotation on a high note.
Absolutely. She's gotten Specialist of the Week a couple times in the GEC. Really pretty bar worker. If I were the coach here, this is who I would want in the anchor position coming after this difficult rotation. Little shy on that handstand on the low bar. Full pirouette. Into the ginger. A little leg separation on catch, but nice combination. Double back. Nice job. Really ended them on a positive note. Not only is that important for the scoring, but also that momentum. Now they're coming off of two good routines coming out of that rotation. They can take that momentum with them to vault.
Yeah, absolutely. And Christina, let's get the exhibition vault here. Ascha Laird.
And not quite some of the pop off the table that we saw from Wiley, but did a nice job of controlling that landing on the Yurchenko layout.
And you can see the overall team vault score won't change based on the scoring for that exhibition. It's a 47.525 for William & Mary on vault, and they will open up with the lead at the end of one rotation. Still waiting on the score for Chambers to come in for Bridgeport. We'll have an exhibition routine by Savannah Lindley before we get to our first break of the afternoon. And Christina, just summarizing Bridgeport on bars overall, really comes down to the handstands. They really hurt themselves there, and some of those mistakes then trickled into you lose that momentum on the handstand, and that's going to affect either the pirouette element later on in the routine or some of the height on the release, and it seems like one thing kind of will beget another. But they can lock in some more of those handstands, clean up some of the work on the bar. They stand to be able to improve this event substantially.
Absolutely.
Savannah Lindley now in exhibition for Bridgeport.
And goes for that pack salto. Oh gosh. Just another one of those places, as you mentioned, Kevin, where didn't have that momentum coming up to the handstand. And bars is so tricky because those skills build on one another. Nice to Tkachev, though. Yeah, this is kind of the challenge I'm seeing with this lineup is some nice elements, some good single bar release work. We've seen Gingers, we've seen Tkachev, but some endurance issues throughout these routines.
You can do this, Savannah! Be aggressive!
And again, had that fall, obviously this score not counting towards the team score, but just at this point, it's really just a mental component for the athlete just to feel like they can finish the routine strong. And I love that toe on entry. Lots of potential there in that routine. Just need to work on some of those endurance issues, and bars, one of those events where, as you mentioned, Kevin, if you're off on one skill, that can really, domino into the other skills.
One event is in the books with William and Mary grabbing the lead at the end of one rotation. Here's a look at our event summary with William and Mary scoring a 47.525 on vault. Not a bad number, no major mistakes. They were able to drop the fall, but still below their season average on vault there. And Bridgeport having some struggles on uneven bars opens with a 46.4, but plenty of competition left. 3 rotations still to go, Christina, and a lot of time for both of these teams to try to build back up and finish strong.
Absolutely. I think that there is, as we're looking at the Bridgeport vault lineup there, I think this is an opportunity for them to really reset, go to the new event. They got to kind of just regroup, forget about what happened on bars. For William and Mary, as you said, steady start. Great for them to get some of those upgrades in the lineup. Sure, they weren't the highest scoring, but there's room to improve. And a couple of those, I think, could have gone a little bit higher. So, both teams, for William and Mary, it's just to continue that steady trajectory. We'll see. The challenge for Bridgeport is to turn around as they move to vault.
Anna Chambers with the high score on bars for Bridgeport, 9.55. Abigail Kenney was a highlight with a season-high 9.5 in the opening spot. Ross and Imbarlina got into some trouble, and Bridgeport having to count that lower score of 8.55 is what puts them in the early deficit here. 47.525 for William and Mary on vault, and 46.4 for Bridgeport on bars. In our second rotation, teams will flip. William and Mary heads to bars and Bridgeport to vault. There's a look at your lineups. We'll step away for a break and come back with the second rotation here from Williamsburg after this.
Up first, on the ball, for the purple.
Welcome back, everyone, inside Kaplan Arena. Kevin Copp, Christina Chauvenet with you here, bringing you Virtius' live coverage of William & Mary and Bridgeport's second rotation about to get underway. William & Mary will be on the uneven bars, and Bridgeport will be on vault. You can see the scores there in the bottom right corner. 47-525 for William & Mary in the opening rotation on vault. Bridgeport opens with a 46-450. That got corrected up half a tenth since last we left you. But if you want to dig in, get all the nitty-gritty details of the scoring, you can get judge-by-judge breakdowns, everything you want. So as you're watching here on the Virtius platform, make sure to click on some of those scorecards. Christina and I are still doing the deep dive, the gym nerds that we are. You can't have too much data, so anywhere you click, you can find more information as we bring you the first Bridgeport vault, and that is Savannah Lindley getting things started for the Purple Knights.
Yeah, and just was a little bit short on that landing. You saw that she kind of had a stutter step and low chest to get started. That Yurchenko layout starting from the 9.75, as we mentioned earlier.
So now over to William & Mary getting started on bars, and you can see the full lineups for both teams on the right side of your screen. We'll have two exhibition routines for William & Mary later on in the lineup, but this is Caroline Blatchford to get things started on bars. Ranked 63rd in the country. Bars is their tied for their strongest event, so this is an opportunity to pick themselves up after a vault rotation that was not their strongest of the year, but right in the mix, about a 10th behind their season average. So we'll see what they can do here in rotation 2 as we go back over to Bridgeport. On vault, up second will be Abigail Kenney.
And she does that different, the handspring style entry, does the front tuck vault there. And, you know, again, struggle a little bit on landing, but I love to see the variety. One of the things I really like about this Bridgeport lineup is the variety we're going to see throughout these athletes.
Meanwhile, opened with a 9-4 from Savannah Lindley, still waiting on the scores on the second vault from Abigail Kenney. The rest of their lineup: Kieran Ross, Lola Sepulveda, Gordon Streete, and Joanna Chambers.
And Kieran Ross, one of those athletes doing the different style entry. She is doing the full on tuck off, and that starts from a 9.95. Pretty big step on landing, but she did get nice distance and had a nice position in the air.
And again, just to bring it back to our conversation about start values with William & Mary, it's why those upgraded start values are critical. And Bridgeport this season has been able to score pretty well on vault. They've got some season highs pushing into that 9.7 and even 9.8 range when you get to the end of the vault lineup with Joanna Chambers. So I think an event where they feel a little bit more comfortable showing it so far. As we go back to bars, Amanda Jackson.
The dismount.
You can see those opening scores from William and Mary, that 9.325, a number that they would love to drop if they can. Kuper, Laird, and Wozniak still to come. 9.625 for Kieran Ross for Bridgeport. It's just a half-tenth off of her season high as we go to fourth. The Purple Knights in the lineup, Lola Sepulveda.
And wow, nice stick on that full twisting Yurchenko. Some form in the air, but a bent legs. But I loved how she honed in on that landing. Probably the best in terms of, I mean, she's the only gymnast that we've seen so far that's really stuck the landing on vault.
Yeah, and just not giving away those tenths will do so much right now for this Bridgeport team, looking to get themselves back into the meet off of a slower start on bar.
Free hip into Ginger, I like that combination. Some leg separation on the catch, but overall nicely done. She's really pretty to watch on this event. Wow, drills that double layout. You like to see those sticks back to back. You know, a couple of form breaks throughout that routine, but certainly William and Mary's strongest routine so far.
Yeah, no doubt, and same can be said for Bridgeport on vault. Yeah, it's exactly what you want to see, right? Even though they probably have no awareness of each other doing it, that's what you want. You want one stick to beget another, and you know, hopefully that continues on the rest of the lineup as you see the score come up for Lola Sepulveda, 9.8 on vault. That is a new season high by a full 10th. Excellent job by Sepulveda here to set the table now for Jordan Streete up fifth.
And didn't quite get that stick, you know, saw her just take that hop forward. I actually wonder if she opened up a little early to try and stick it. You know, sometimes when you're trying to stick it a little too hard, it just doesn't quite happen because she got nice height off the table. But still, great. You're getting those twisting vaults in the lineup and another 9.95 start for them.
I don't think we'll see it quite up to that 9.8 threshold that we saw from Sepulveda, but should be another good number for Bridgeport, and still one to come. Very talented vaulter in Joanna Chambers. Kuper, meanwhile, delivered the high bar score for William and Mary with a 9.725. That's a season best for Kuper, and now Ascha Laird.
Does that half difficult combination, that half pirouette Tkachev immediate overshoot. I would have liked to see a little bit more height on the Tkachev, but did a nice job of connecting all of those elements together. Doing that full pirouette into the double back. You know, was a little shy in that pirouette combination, but I like the fight that I'm seeing from William and Mary in these routines, keeping that connection going through her dismount.
All right, one to come now for William and Mary on bars. That will be Sarah Wozniak in the anchor spot. Both of these teams you can feel starting to get settled in and starting to look a little bit more comfortable here in the second rotation. 9.7 for Jordan Streete. Here's Chambers.
Oh, so cool. Oh, it just takes that little micro step. But I love that front with the half. 9.9 start value there. And, you know, hopefully our viewers can see what I'm talking about in terms of the diversity that we've had in this lineup. We saw a front handspring front. We've seen a front handspring front half, the full on, as well as some of those traditional full twisting Yurchenko. So really nice there. She gets great block off of that table, and that is what sets her up to do that extra half.
Bridgeport pretty well positioned. They're going to be, if they're not a new season high in vault, they're going to be darn close to it. We'll know momentarily as we await the score from Chambers, but here is Sarah Wozniak.
And I know I'm going to sound like a little bit of a broken record, some leg separation there as she catches on that Ginger, but nice transition to the low bar and that bail to handstand. Gearing up for her dismount here, doing that double out. Nice body position in the air. You know, again, you see a lot of shape issues with athletes kind of piking some of those laid out, those double layouts, but she kept pretty nice hip angle throughout just that step on landing.
No exhibition vault for Bridgeport, 9.775. That final score for Chambers narrowly misses matching her season high score, but 48.325 overall on vault for Bridgeport. That matches their best number of the year, so a really nice response to a subpar performance on bars in that first rotation. And exactly like you said, Christina, it's about putting that out of your mind, just focusing on what's ahead, and they looked really comfortable, and you can see the way those scores built throughout the lineup as well for Bridgeport.
Absolutely, really nice. You know, at back end of the Bridgeport lineup, very powerful. We saw the greater level of control and landing some of those higher start values, and really paid off like that 9.8, 9.7, 9.775. Really great note for them to end on.
Score comes up for Wozniak, 9.675. So you can see that Bridgeport's going to pick up 2/10 on William and Mary in this second rotation, 48.325 to 48.125. So making up a little bit of ground. William and Mary still have a sizable lead here as we get the first of two exhibition routines. This is Anne-Marie Kubler.
And some momentum issues throughout this routine, not swinging quite as fluidly as some of her teammates. Gearing up for the dismount here. Good for her on that double back. Again, just would like to see a little bit more fluid swing throughout that the bar routine, but nice for William and Mary to have some depth options on bars.
Yeah, and we're really going to flex their depth because we're going to go 8 deep on bars. Now, you know, talking with Kelsey Hinton, I think she feels pretty strongly, it sounded like, about her top 6 on vault, bars, and floor. We're going to see 2 exhibitions on beam as well, and I think that's the lineup still that has the most fluidity, and I think is the biggest question mark remaining for this William and Mary team. So today, going 8 deep at home, you know, may shine some light on what that eventual core top 6 is going to be.
Yeah, you know, as you kind of talked at the top of the broadcast about where we are in season, we really are moving. Somehow it happened that we're already in mid-season, pushing towards the back end of the season. So, you know, it is really important for these teams to start feeling like, okay, this is the lineup we're going to carry into postseason, get folks really comfortable with where they are in those lineup positions. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see as William and Mary, for example, tomorrow, how their lineup looks compared to today.
9.425 for Kubler, and now our second and final exhibition on bars. This is Grace Costello.
Oh, gosh. Goes for that difficult piked Jaeger. Remember, the piked Jaeger is an E as opposed to the straddle Jaeger, which is a D. Difficult to keep that body position throughout the Jaeger, and it was pretty in the air. She just mistimed the release. See if she can get this dismount here. Double layout. Again, pretty nice in the air, just a little bit of pike, but got nice height off the bar. So good to see her recover from that.
All right, so we are officially at the halfway point of today's competition, and now our event-by-event summary. You can see William and Mary with that sizable lead at the end of the first rotation over a point, 47-525 on vault, 46-450 on bars for Bridgeport, but Bridgeport makes up 2/10 on the uneven, or on the second rotation with Bridgeport on vault, 48-325, matching their season high score. William and Mary 48-125 on bars, but Christina, I think a lot of improvement shown by both teams there in that second rotation.
Yeah, I think that William and Mary can be really happy with how they did on bars. Some form things to clean up here and there, but overall a strong showing. And yeah, Bridgeport, best I've seen them this season on vault. The score showed it. So again, we're just going to remind all of our gym nerd friends out there, got to go to the Virtius platform. You can look at judges splits. You can look at difference in the scoring differential. So really fun and interactive platform there. If you like to play around with the scores as much as Kevin and I do.
That's what we're going to be doing in our break, at least.
Exactly.
You're welcome to join us in there. Here's a look now that vault is complete at your vault leaderboard, and Bridgeport really dominant here as they take the top 4 spots on vault. Lola Sepulveda led the way for Bridgeport with a 9-8, but great scores there all around, and consequently, William and Mary dominates on the bar side of things, with Sarah Kuper taking home bars honors today, a 9.725, the high mark there, as William and Mary captures the top 4 spots on the uneven bars. So both teams' second rotations played to their strengths, and here's a look at what's ahead. William and Mary will be on beam. Bridgeport will be on floor when Christina and I return with the third rotation here from Williamsburg. Back, everyone. Kevin Copp, Christina Chauvenet with you here as we get set to start the third rotation as William and Mary heads to beam and Bridgeport heads to floor. Your scores in the bottom right here on the Virtius platform with William and Mary leading 95-650 to 94-775. Bridgeport matching their season high on vault. They take some momentum with them into floor exercise. William and Mary trying to do the same to beam. And Christina, I think this will be a really interesting rotation here. Both of these teams heading to what has statistically been their weakest event this season. And even by Kelsey Hinton's own admission, this beam event is where they're really trying to hone in on what their top six is going to be. They're still playing around with the lineup a little bit, but as we've said, hitting the home stretch of the season, you want to get to a place sooner rather than later where you really have some confidence in your top six, and particularly on beam being such a make or break event.
Absolutely. This is going to be a really critical event for them. And, as when we talked to Coach Hinton, kind of said that, they'd had some hiccups, people being sick, people being in and out of the lineup as things happen during college gymnastics season. So, it's going to be really important for them if they can get through this rotation without having to kind of fall. I think that would be a major victory for them. Then they can go to floor and enjoy that finish in front of their home crowd.
Absolutely. I think set up to finish well here as teams always seem to perform well on floor at home. So to get through beam and beginning trying to set the tone here for this William and Mary lineup will be Sarah Kuper.
A little shy of split on that first element. Really solid on that back handspring layout step out though. Front toss, difficult element. I would have liked to see her land with her chest a bit higher, but she did connect it through to that jump. Gearing up for her dismount here. 1.5, just low landing, but hangs on to that landing and doing that more. Remember, because of the changes to the code of, you're no longer allowed, a lot of gymnasts were dismounting with an aerial full. You're not allowed to dismount with that anymore to bring those dismounts up to the level. So we're seeing a lot more difficult dismounts on beam, which is something I really enjoy.
Sarah Kuper delivers that important hit routine to lead off on beam. That's why she's in that spot. The faith that Kelsey Hinton has in her in that leadoff spot, even as they search for changes in that beam lineup. And now over on floor for Bridgeport. Up first will be Tierney Milliken.
Oh, did not get the set on that front layout, front full. Nice recovery there with that Rudy. Just too bad, struggled with endurance on that last pass. Had a nice middle pass with the Rudy, but that's a challenging start for Bridgeport because now the pressure is on for the rest of their lineup to hit.
Absolutely looking for 5 in a row now, and yeah, you said it earlier, Christina. Really, both of these teams, I think, is worrying about the perfection of the routines to come in the next couple of weeks. This is just trying to hit 6 for 6, or now if you can't do that, hit 5 for 6. And William and Mary, one step of the way there with a 9.5 from Sarah Kuper. Here's the collegiate debut for Lily Walker on beam.
And she got it started off strong there with the front toss to back handspring acro combination. William and Mary choreographed into all of their beam and floor routines. I like the variety she's going for here. That standing layout step out unfortunately had that big leg up check. Painter pike step, a couple areas here and there, but I really like that she has some different elements in her routine. I really like the front toss to the back handspring acro series was the highlight of that routine for me.
And just to see the composure and obviously her team's reaction as well. They knew what was at stake for the freshman getting up there and competing for the first time for William and Mary. So it delivers a nice hit routine, and we'll see if that can keep her in that beam lineup as Kelsey Hinton looks to firm up these spots as best as possible after an opening 9.5 from Kuper. Still waiting on the score for Milliken, but it's going to be a low number with those 2 falls on the first and third passes. So pressure situation here for Alexis Richardson up second. Kieran Ross will be third. Lola Sepulveda fourth. Abigail Kenney fifth. And Olivia Imbarlina up sixth in the anchor spot. We'll also see an exhibition floor routine from Taylor Rendina.
Just overcooked that double pike there. Much better control on that double back. Big routine. Oh, she did have that out of bounds on the double pike and some extra energy there, but that really important for their momentum. Those deductions minimal compared to the fall, the falls that we saw in the opening spot.
Yeah, that's a must-drop score at the starting spot for Milliken, that 7.85, a number that Bridgeport will want to get rid of. And meanwhile, Lily Walker with a 9.375 in her debut beam routine. Following that up third for William and Mary is Caroline Blatchford.
Blatchford's really pretty to watch on this event, gearing up for her acro series here. Goes for that difficult triple series. I think I jinxed her. They believe she's the only William and Mary athlete doing that triple series. It was just off in that second back handspring, and so when you're off in the one of those element series, it's really difficult to correct it in the air. You can see assistant coach Brittany Emmons there just telling her to calm down, she's probably just telling her just to breathe, do normal. Hangs on to that dance connection. Nice recovery with the gainer full, but obviously not the routine that she wanted. So, now William and Mary, like Bridgeport, is facing some adversity. They're going to need a hit for the next person in their lineup.
Yeah, exactly right. Both teams now need to be perfect the rest of the way to drop their lower scores. Alexis Richardson certainly delivered for Bridgeport with a 9.575 by 2.5 tenths. That is a season best score for Richardson when they needed it most, and now Kieran Ross up third.
Double pike, and this routine is a treat. She's debuting new choreography that she did herself to the music is from Ocean's 8, which is one of her favorite movies. And that double turn, so difficult. Rarely see that on floor. Gorgeous. I absolutely love that floor. I talked to Coach Lorraine Gallo about that. She said she's a natural choreographer. She's got gymnastics in her family. She's going to work with Coach Gallo next season to do all of the beam and floor choreography. So really cool to see. And that's a complete package that I like to see on floor. Artistry is not just smiling all the time. Artistry is your commitment to that artistic performance and how you are connecting and expressing yourself through movement. She was really the complete package there, matching that artistry with really well-controlled tumbling.
I totally agree, and you can see obviously it comes from a place where if you're able to have that talent to be able to do that yourself, it obviously has a personal connection. She really owns it, and I think it'll only benefit Bridgeport moving forward to have her involved in that way. But to be able to roll that out mid-season, Christina, I am in awe of that. Everything that goes on at this point in the year to say, you know what, I'm going to throw in some new choreo as well is really remarkable.
And can I just say, as we're in the scoring delay, that level of artistry should be the standard in NCAA gymnastics. And right now, the code of points only allows 3/10 for artistry. That's what you get for artistry. That's the artistry deduction. NCAA Technical Committee, if you are listening, I implore you to make that a bigger portion of the score. This is artistic gymnastics. The clue is in the name. I'd love to see that rewarded more because I don't think many athletes have that commitment and performance quality that she did, and it's not being rewarded.
I think that's a great point, and glad to see it rewarded here with a 9.65. So Ross and Richardson back-to-back have shattered previous season high scores. And you look at these teams we talked about As being the lower scoring events to this point this season, it's Bridgeport's lowest scoring event, it's William and Mary's, and neither team has cracked a 48. So if you just want to work backwards from that being a number that I think both coaches would be happy to see a sign of progress, 48 is averaging a 9.6, and save for those low numbers right now, Bridgeport is doing just that. So that's the path to getting there. And then, you know, once you've gotten there, then you want to build, of course. But nice job by Richardson and Ross after that tough start for Milligan. They have really responded superbly.
Yeah, and so now, you know, we're going to have to see what the response is from William and Mary in a similar situation, obviously not wanting to count that 7-9, 7-5 from Blatchford.
And Marie Kubler with the pressure routine coming, and there will be 3 of them here for Kubler, Carpenter, and Costello in the back half of the beam lineup. We also have 2 exhibitions for William and Mary here on beam, but we'll get to that later on. Here is Kubler now up 4th.
Cleanly through that full turn, one of the requirements on beam. Goes for that difficult round off layout step out. I really like that series, but just her hips were way off in the air and couldn't save it. Really cool series there as well. And, you know, the pressure is still on her because Blatchford had 2 falls. And so, you know, this is still a score that could count. A nice job on that landing. You know, I loved that layout step out to the knee, shades of Jana Beeger there for any old school gymnastics fans out there. And, you know, just going for that difficult round off layout step out. Again, I like to see these athletes going for those different elements, and hopefully can see her get more consistent with that later in the season.
So unfortunately, William and Mary will have to count another lower score here. It's be above that 7-9-2-5 from Blatchford, but a lower number than William and Mary was hoping to count with that fall. And now we go back to floor, where Bridgeport has really turned it on of late. Up 4th will be Lola Sepulveda.
2.5 twist to punch front. Nicely done there. No problem getting that punch front around. Just a little bit of lack of control there on the jump out of that tumbling pass. Another strong routine for Bridgeport, though. You know, a couple things here and there in the routine, but I do really like the performance quality they're bringing and have really recovered from that opening fall.
That seems like it, and now 2 to go with Abigail, Kenney, and Olivia Imbarlina, 2 veterans and 2 gymnasts certainly capable of delivering good floor routines. So love to see Bridgeport keep that momentum up. You can see the score from Kubler is a 9-1, which will count for William and Mary. So This is a chance for Bridgeport after their slow start on bars. They've been behind the entirety of this meet, but they can make up a lot of ground right now, and this is where I think the Virtius scoring is really fun. When you look at the rotation score, you can see, in kind of a match play format in real time, how much ground each of these Bridgeport routines are making up. I think it's really useful in terms of tracking the flow of the meet. So William and Mary trying to recapture some momentum here with Abby Carpenter up 5th.
And good for her, fighting through that handspring layout step out that was a bit off. Going for that difficult switch split, maybe just a bit shy of that 180, but such a challenging leap. Switch half, excuse me. And, she's looked a bit tentative in a couple places in this routine, but so far handling it nicely. I think that routine was really important for William and Mary. She's stoked about that one. Because there were several times in that routine where she was off and she fought through and she could have come off the beam. Like I said, a little bit of hesitancy, particularly going into that, the switch half that she did. But, really fought through, and a very important routine as we move into the back of that lineup to be able to pick up some of those higher scores.
Absolutely, and now one remaining for William and Mary, and that will be Grace Costello in the anchor position. We are waiting on a score for Lola Sepulveda as we come back to floor. 2 left, Bridgeport here, beginning with Abigail Kenney. See the judges getting together there over on the left side of your screen to discuss scoring on the previous routine.
Yeah, remember those judges' conferences happen when the scores are more than 2/10 apart. So likely conferencing over a start value issue.
Christina, good time to mention while we have a moment. We've hinted at it a couple times, but this is a double meet weekend for William and Mary, and they are right back here tomorrow afternoon. And we encourage you to check it out back here, same place, right here on the Virtius platform. You can check out all of the scoring and the broadcast, and a really exciting meet tomorrow for a lot of reasons as William and Mary, Christina, gets ready to welcome Fisk here to Williamsburg, and it's one of the great stories in NCAA gymnastics this season, and I think it will be a really special day and a broadcast well worth checking out tomorrow afternoon.
Absolutely, totally agree about that. And Asia Sims Barber, who is the incoming head coach at Talladega College Gymnastics, as well as Paris McGee, our colleagues, going to be on the call, and have to congratulate Asia on her announcement as the head coach of the second HBCU to have a gymnastics team. So really excited to have them on the call, and should be a great meet. 2 of these teams with Black women as their head coaches, so important and amazing for what is happening in the sport. Shout out to our friends Brown Girls Do Gymnastics, who have been doing so much to advance diversity in gymnastics and promote the growth of HBCUs and having gymnastics programs. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Christina. And, you know, I'd say also, if you haven't seen Fisk yet, in addition to being a great story, there's some great gymnastics. I got the chance to see them down in Athens earlier this year, which was a really special day for Corinne Tarver to come back to her alma mater, compete at Stegman Coliseum. It was emotional. Everyone was in tears before that meet started, and they've got some terrific talent. And in just their first year as a program, already making a splash. They're a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely, and you look at other teams that have started programs recently, like LIU in their third season, having a huge upward trajectory. So really, you know, this is just the beginning for the journey of Fisk, and you know, some really, as agreed, really fun gymnastics. I'm going to be on the mic for them in a couple weeks. I can't wait.
Well, after that lengthy conversation between the judges, they come up with an 8.95 for Sepulveda, and that will be a number that has to count for Bridgeport after that low opening score for Milliken. So unfortunately, that blunts some of the momentum that the Purple Knights had going for them on floor. Trying to pick it back up now in the 5th spot for Bridgeport is Abigail Kenney.
A clean opening 2.5 there. Great control on that combination pass. A nice job, really important routine. Again, I think there were some start value issues, and that's why we saw that lower 8-9, but important routine to get them back on track.
Well, and Christina, because of the ability to get in-depth real-time scoring from the Virtius platform, I can tell you the judges agreed on a 9.3 start value for Sepulveda there. So clearly something major was off. Not a ton of deduction, really, when you get down to it, to come up with an 8.95, but a 9.3 start really hurt her. Back on beam now in the anchor position for William and Mary, Grace Costello.
And quite shy on that second switch split, going for that difficult combination of 2 switch split leaps in a row. Wow, she's going for some difficult dance here. I love to see that. So much emphasis put on the acrobatic elements on both beam and floor, but dance is another good way to build up your start value. Pace forward on that 1.5, but overall, nice job. And like I said, I really appreciate, even though that opening sequence, she was quite short on the second switch split, I like to see that variety in how athletes are building their start value.
I think we've seen plenty of that from William and Mary. They have not shied away from difficulty on these beam routines. Has not always paid off in the scoring this afternoon, but there is still time to round this event into form as Costello finishes up. And now the final competition routine for Bridgeport before we get into our exhibitions. This is Olivia Imbarlina.
Nice opening pass there. Connected to that jump. Maybe just a little extra travel, but handled it pretty well. Just a little flat on that layout, but hung on to it. A couple of form errors in there, missed that ring position, going for that tricky switch ring, but nice fight, especially her combination pass. She was a little bit low on that front layout, but pulled it out.
Right now, we'll have some exhibitions, 2 of them for William and Mary on beam and 1 from Bridgeport on floor. And the first of those 2 is Sophia Huang.
And again, nice fight. You saw that front foot come off the beam, but she handled the correction. Didn't quite get that jump all the way around. And going for that difficult sheep jump, I would like to see her keep her legs together throughout that jump. It's the second William and Mary gymnast we've seen do a cartwheel. We've got some level 5 throwbacks in here for fun. I like that. And hangs on to that. Yeah, again, I think there were a couple areas in that routine that she had some form errors, but that is a routine that could contend for a spot in the lineup. Probably what we're seeing in these extra spots, because Coach Hinton is still trying to finalize this lineup, seeing who's going to slot it where. So it will be interesting to see what lineup they go with tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things when you're going 8 deep because of the 2 exhibitions and saying quite openly that we haven't found our top 6 yet. I mean, I think everyone knows the stakes. This is an open audition right now, and I don't think the top 6 necessarily solidified themselves this afternoon for William and Mary. So, yeah, I'm very interested to keep an eye on that, Christina, and what changes we might see in the next month before GECs. Back to Bridgeport now, Taylor Rendina in exhibition on floor.
Just a little bit of lack of control on that opening Rudy. A combination pass. And again, some grit there, fighting through that front tuck, getting around.
And one final exhibition on beam for William and Mary before we come to our final break of the afternoon. But, as we have a moment, Christina, we should check back in on the team scoring. And you could see, based on the struggles, both teams had their share of struggles, but William and Mary 46.925 on beam. Bridgeport able to make up about half a full point. And now you go to the final rotation separated by just 0.3. So we are up for a great finish. But right now, this is Keegan Schaefer in the 8th position on beam for William and Mary.
And so solid on that back handspring layout step out to open there. A little hesitant moving from the aerial to C-zone, but I love the C-zone in the routine. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you know, based on those performances, you would have loved to have those two routines in that counting lineup spot. Of course, you cannot directly copy and paste the routines from one to another. So, but we'll be, I mean, that was a couple of little positionality things throughout that routine, but those two exhibition routines certainly would have been counting scores in their lineup.
Yeah, and actually same can be said for Bridgeport as well. So interesting to see the way that both of these teams, you know, especially on this event, which we said coming into this rotation, statistically they have been on the less strong side, that there is still some room to figure it out down the home stretch. And it appears we will have one more exhibition for Bridgeport as well.
And hangs on to that front layout there. That was fun choreography there, and once again in that position where that exhibition scar would have counted in the, you know, so good for these teams to get some depth out there. Maybe they'll see if they want to switch up their lineups, but I thought that was really fun choreography. I always love when routines have a theme, and she was really committed to that.
Well, you can see after that early start by William and Mary, up by a point at the end of one rotation, Bridgeport chipping away at that lead, and now we go to the fourth and final rotation with things pretty tight here in Williamsburg. 142.575 for William and Mary, just 0.3 ahead of Bridgeport with a 142.275. Not scores that either team will be thrilled about in that third rotation, but Bridgeport a mid-47, 47.450 on floor, and William and Mary below a 47 with a 46.925 on beam. So this one a toss-up as we get ready for the fourth and final rotation. William and Mary trying to close it out strong on floor. Bridgeport to beam. A look at the lineups ahead for the fourth rotation. Christina and I will be back to bring it home here on Senior Day for William and Mary in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Copp, Christina Chauvenet with you for the fourth and final rotation here at William & Mary as they try to finish strong in their last go-around on Senior Day. This is the beginning of a double meet weekend for William & Mary right here on Virtius today and tomorrow as they'll take on Fisk. But right now locked in a tight one against Bridgeport. William & Mary has led wire to wire, but that lead has been trimmed down to just 3/10, 142.575. Bridgeport's 142.275. And Christina, the converse of what we saw in the last rotation where both teams had to count some lower scores statistically on their weakest events. They both finish on events that have been the strongest for them all year. So hopefully we can get a great finish to this meet here this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this final rotation.
And we will get it started right now on beam with Jordan Streete leading off for Bridgeport.
I love the way she kicks out of that full turn. Too bad. That back handspring layout step out. I didn't think she was as far off. I thought, looked like she maybe could have saved that, but probably just fell off to her. Cool double stag jump there. And that split bowl, she got that all the way around, something we saw some of the William & Mary athletes struggle with. You know, really cool elements in that routine, that double stag jump, a personal favorite of mine, but you know, at the end of the day, that's a fall that they're starting off their rotation, not how they were looking to start.
No, certainly not. And, you know, this is a team that has not far off from a 49 on beam this year. So when they put it together, they can be really terrific on this event. But unfortunately, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it under extreme pressure, having to hit 5 in a row. And remember, they're trying to make up 3/10, whereas William & Mary wants to protect that lead if they're looking for a dual meet victory this afternoon. So to get it started on floor exercise now for William & Mary, Abby Carpenter in the leadoff spot.
Keeps that inbounds, difficult front through to double back. A nice switch ring there. Wow, stuck double pike. That was wonderful to watch. She's psyched about that one. Big power, that 2 double salto passes. And I've been harping on this ring position all day. Difficult to get that head release, and she did a really nice job of getting that head released all the way back. That's important because if you don't, the judges can devalue it. They often don't, but they can devalue it, and she did a nice job there. So phenomenal start for William & Mary.
And Christina, as we've noted a couple times here this afternoon, we've said this is the first time that William & Mary is competing at home. I think the event that stands to benefit the most from it is floor, because you could just feed off of that excitement, energy of the crowd, of your teammates being there. And William & Mary, really, if that is your opening routine, they are poised to be in very good shape moving forward here on the floor.
There's something so satisfying about watching somebody stick a double pike. It's just like really aesthetically lovely. So I really enjoyed that routine.
Great punctuation mark there on that final pass for Carpenter. Her season best is a 9.675, so be able to benchmark where things sit for William and Mary based off of the scoring when that comes in. Still waiting and now ready to go on beam, up second after an opening fall from Jordan Streete. Here is Lola Sepulveda.
Front toss into back handspring, nicely done there. Those front to backs can be difficult to connect, but she did a solid job. Would like to see a little bit better positioning in that cat leap in attitude position. Just came in a little short on that Rudy. Couple places in the routine, but really nice for them to turn around that momentum and get a solid hit in.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost basically functions as a second leadoff routine, that kind of pressure on Sepulveda there. And the rest of the Bridgeport team lineup, you have Kieran Ross, Hannah Barry, Olivia Imbarlina, and Nicole Chauvenet in the anchor spot. Bridgeport will also get an exhibition for Bridgeport as well. Exhibitions for both teams here on floor. And following up on an excellent starting floor routine from Abby Carpenter, here is Michelle No.
Opens with that Rudy, maybe just a bit of extra power, but okay, nicely done. Nice job, good control in that tumbling. I'm not sure what happened in her final dance element. She did a switch side leap and then kind of scooted around. So I don't know if she was intending to connect that into something or do an additional turn. So let's keep an eye on the start value there.
That will be something to monitor there. As remember, Carpenter opened with a 9.75 as you see the gymnast by gymnast scoring on the right side of your screen. Wait on the score for Michelle No. Good bounce back. Sepulveda 9.6 after the 8.9 from Jordan Streete. That number has to be dropped by Bridgeport if they've got a chance here to make up what was a 3/10 deficit starting this rotation. Kieran Ross up third.
And this is such a treat. Check this out. Oh, and then connects it to the round off. Okay, she had previously done the no-handed round off. Oh, and I think she's improvising a bit with the sequence of her elements here. But does that kind of no-handed round off, that aerial to 2 feet, that's rated an E element. Shout out to Claire Billman and College Gym News for helping me with that start value, the value of the element, rather. Wow, she stuck that last week. Looks like she's really finding her air awareness. I love that routine. You know, we talked about her artistry on floor, really carries it over to beam and has that unique acrobatic series that she did, the aerial. I thought she was a little off and connected that into the round off, though. She did keep that connection, and then did that aerial, sort of side aerial to 2 feet, no-handed round off, if you will. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and just a great line on beam as well, and it really shows there. It's just a great combination of everything you would want to see. Her season best is a 9.7, but I think she could be a really big scorer on this Bridgeport team for beam. If she puts all those elements together, I mean, that's the potential for a fabulous routine. Right away, we go to floor, and Hannah Burke is up third for William and Mary.
Nice double back, good chest position on that landing.
Back-to-back 9.75s, by the way, for William and Mary to begin. No start value issue for Michelle, no.
Wow, really nice control of those tumbling passes. Had that good chest position on the landing. Remember, we're looking for the chest to be upright on landing. So a lot of times you'll see the gymnast land, particularly those double salto passes, a little crunched over. And I also got to say, I'm a sucker for dramatic music in a floor routine. So I loved the drama that she brought to that routine.
Absolutely, and I will go back over to beam. And up fourth for Bridgeport will be Hannah Barry.
And Barry is really pretty to watch on this event as well. Season high of 9.8. And, you know, you see that 9.175 for Ross. I wonder if they determined that she did not connect those elements and had a lowered start value there.
Yeah, Christina, I think that's exactly what it is. It's a 9.6 start value. Even then, the judges were 2.5 tenths separated, a 9.3 and a 9.05. So
aerial back handspring layout step out. Again, let's keep an eye on that because that aerial is a little slow connection into the back handspring layout step out. And some back leg form on that switch split. And this is cool. Check this out. The gainer front sticks it. Good for her. You know, a couple of places in that routine, I have seen her be a little crisper in some of her split positions, but really nice cap to that routine.
And the back half of this Bridgeport beam lineup is really solid. Barry, Imbarlina, and Chauvenet, those three have all gone 9.8 or above this year. Don't know that we'll quite get there from Hannah Barry on this routine, but it is what this Bridgeport team is capable of on this event, and they need it right now. Unfortunately, having to carry that 9.175 from Ross, who got into that connection issue. And now we'll go back over to floor, where William and Mary has knocked out 3 9.75s in a row. Here's Grace Costello.
Chest position a little low on that opening double pike. I gotta say, I would have liked to see that last routine go higher than 9.75. Misses that ring position in the switch ring. As I mentioned, so difficult to get that head all the way released. Just stays in bounds there. Pretty routine from Grace Costello. You know, one of the other things that I am liking about this William & Mary lineup as a whole is the diversity in the music and choreography that we see. You see a lot of electronic and pop music being used in college gymnastics. Nothing wrong with that. I enjoy that. But I like the diversity that we're seeing in these styles.
Yeah, we've talked about that, you know, from a skill standpoint today. We've talked about it from a, you know, a stylistic and an artistic standpoint, and I think both of these teams have been a pretty good representation of that throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And what even left? Sorry, for Bridgeport, Olivia Imbarlina and Nicole Chauvenet. Christina.
Well, I was just going to say, William & Mary doing a really nice job of controlling those combination passes, which is a pain point for a lot of teams. Remember, you do have to have at least one pass where you do two salto or flipping elements.
Imbarlina now on the beam, a 9.45 start value for Hannah Barry. Excuse me, 9.45 score for Hannah Barry, 10.0 start value.
And sinks into that correction on the back handspring layout, step out. Seamless connection in that aerial to split jump. And she's such a pretty beam worker, great stretch through that switch split and the straddle quarter. Just a hop on the dismount, but she really has some of those lovely beam qualities, the extension, the split positions that can push us into those higher scoring ranges.
So one routine left now for Bridgeport that has not been exactly the day that Bridgeport would have hoped for on beam. A really strong event for them. Just some mistakes that they have fought through in this lineup, but Imbarlina and Chauvenet a chance to finish up strong and trying to keep it going right now. All scores of 9.7, 2.5 or above. This is Sophie Chandler.
Difficult front double full to open there. And that round off layout step out that you see, that's because gymnasts are required to do both front and backward tumbling. So if a gymnast prefers front tumbling like we're seeing here, they sneak it in kind of in that format. Ugh. Such pretty floor. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. She missed her ring position a bit. And you know, it's one of those things where I'd almost rather see the athlete do like a switch split or another element that's not quite as taxing on getting that position, because it is something that we see a lot of athletes not hitting. But I really liked her performance quality, and had some other really nice dance throughout that routine.
Yeah, this has been a really steady top to bottom effort here for William & Mary, and they've got exactly one routine left, but by hitting 5 in a row, they have pretty much secured themselves a victory here in this dual meet this afternoon. Now a question of where can this score land for them in the big picture this season. Nicole Chauvenet, final competition routine for Bridgeport on B.
Rock solid on that back handspring layout step out. She's a treat to watch on beam as well. That's just a seasoned competitor, pretty far off there on her layout step out, but handles it. Just a little hop, but really lovely beam work from Chauvenet. Didn't have her best beam routine last week, so nice to see her have rebound like that, and some of those pretty qualities in the stretch and the split positions I really liked. And I mean, that layout step out, she really just rocked it because she was pretty far off on the landing.
And now the final competition routine for William & Mary. Chandler scored a 9.675. In the anchor spot is Keegan Schaefer.
Wow, another stuck double pike. Remember that sticking is not required on floor. You are allowed to take a controlled lunge, but sticking, it's just little cherry on top. Didn't quite get that 1.5 all the way around. Lacking some amplitude on that final layout, but that opening pass, double pike, such a highlight for me. Really great control there, and you know, a couple places to clean up, but William & Mary's going to be so happy with how they finished in this meet. Just hit routine after hit routine.
Yeah, that was a really solid floor, and it'll be interesting. They're right at their season high score on floor. The only reason I'm not sure if they can get there, they don't really have a low score to drop, so we'll see how much ground Schaefer is able to make up. The low score at the moment, a 9.675. Now exhibition routines before Christina and I bring this home for you. Zamora Jennings on beam.
Wouldn't just doubted herself at the end there because she was on in that back handspring layout step out. Oh, and again, does that difficult no-handed round off or side aerial to 2 feet. Good stretch in that switch split straddle quarter. Nice routine. Good for her getting that routine out there. And again, you know, even though it's not in a scoring position, you can see teammates stoked about that one and giving them another option on beam.
And now we'll get one final exhibition this afternoon on floor exercise for William and Mary will be Sarah Brownstein. How about this? A 9.825 for Keegan Schaefer and a 48.8 for William and Mary on floor. That is a season best by over a tenth. Really great floor performance top to bottom, and what a way to close out the meet.
And now they can all just sit back, relax, enjoy their teammates' exhibition performance here. I think she just kept that in bounds by a toenail.
I was going to say that's as close as you can be, avoiding that 1/10 neutral deduction.
You know, just some form errors, a couple places in that routine, but really nice to see her fight to keep that in bounds. And yeah, overall, I mean, yeah, William and Mary couldn't be happier about how they ended on floor.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about, Christina, this setting up for the rest of the weekend, right? Because they get to get right back out here in 24 hours. They're going to be back at it, competing against Fisk tomorrow. Final home competition of the regular season for William and Mary. And you know, I think this floor sets them up to have a really spectacular afternoon tomorrow. Final exhibition routine on beam for Bridgeport before we leave.
And goes for that difficult punch front. Was off on that landing, but seems to me she could have saved it. Of course, that's easy for me to say because I'm not up there trying to save it myself. Wow, nice switch half. You don't see a lot of athletes doing that. It's certainly not to the 180 degrees that she got. This is a really cool routine. Double full. Lots of difficulty packed into that routine. Obviously just not quite consistent enough to make it in the lineup, but hopefully that can move to the scoring lineup soon because you had the punch front, you had the double full, back handspring to back tuck. I really liked those elements in there.
No, I totally agree. And I think that's going to be interesting is, you know, as we see things move forward, right? Both of these teams went 7-8 deep with their exhibitions, and I think there were some events today that certainly left some room to say, you know, there may be a switch or two coming or a chance to get in the gym and challenge for those lineup spots. So bring you to our final scores. William and Mary gets the win today in a 191-375, second highest score of the season for William and Mary, and then a 189-750 for Bridgeport, in the middle of where they've been this year, certainly well higher than the 185-186 from earlier this season in those first couple weeks, but you know, not to the level that they have been the last few weeks, so disappointing on that front.
Yeah, they definitely have some things to go back and work on in the gym, but hopefully if you are watching this broadcast and you haven't seen very much Division II gymnastics, you're seeing the high level of skills that are being done here. Just some cleaning up to do, some endurance issues throughout, but some lovely performances for Bridgeport. And for William and Mary, I think for them to end on such a strong note was really important for them to keep their momentum going as they move into their second meet tomorrow.
Definitely, and we want to remind folks as we look at the finals here, interesting to see the way these results shook out because, Bridgeport's so dominant on vault, William and Mary so dominant on bars. You really had big swings in this meet from one side to the other as Lola Sepulveda takes the vault honors with a 9-8 high score there on vault for Bridgeport, in the top 4 spots belong to Bridgeport. Exactly the opposite as William and Mary takes the top 4 spots on bars, with Sarah Kuper leading the way with a 9.725. Looking at beam, William and Mary and Bridgeport share honor, William and Mary sweeps the top honors there with Keegan Schaefer going 9.825. That's floor. Keegan Schaefer, 9.825. She shared the honors on beam with a 9.65, and then a pack there. William and Mary knocking out those 9.75s. Boy, that effort on floor, Christina, I think that, to me, is the story of the day, the way that they were able to close out this meet and hopefully take that momentum with them into tomorrow.
Absolutely, and so fun to watch them perform on floor in front of their home crowd, and love the artistry in those routines.
And in the all-around, you had Bridgeport, the only 2 all-around competitors, and it is Lola Sepulveda taking the honors, 37.725. Kieran Ross had some issues today as well, 37.075 for Bridgeport, but we'll bring it back to the final scores here, 191.375 for William and Mary, Bridgeport 189.750. And Christina, kind of what you would expect at this point in the season. There were some positives, but still a whole lot for both teams to clean up with exactly 1 month until they'll both be right back here on this very same floor competing for a conference title in the GECs.
Absolutely. And, as they move into their next meets, those road scores really important to pick up as they move into NQS. Both of these teams have some pretty low scores that they want to drop from earlier in the season. So even though they didn't quite get into their season highs, they can still use that to improve their score moving forward.
All right, folks, well, that's going to be the end of the afternoon for Christina and I, but we do invite you to stick around here because it is Senior Day for William and Mary, and the Senior Day ceremony will be coming up, as well as the official presentation of the event winners and overall team scores. So we'll turn it over to public address and invite you to stay here. I want to thank my partner, Christina Chauvenet. I'm Kevin Copp. Thanks for watching with us this afternoon on Virtius, and we hope that you liked today's presentation, and if you did, tune right back in tomorrow as Asia and Paris will be bringing you tomorrow's meet. It is the pink meet versus Fisk. It'll be right here at 2 o'clock p.m. Celebrating women's empowerment and cancer awareness, and we look forward to a great competition tomorrow afternoon between William and Mary and Fisk. So for Christine and myself, thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned for Senior Day and the presentation of awards.
Enjoys her sport. Her plan is to get a PhD in biomechanics and do research on chronic injury prevention in sports. But it's also looking into grad school for math to be a professor. Sarah, we're going to miss you, and we love you. Next person is Keegan Schaefer. All right, Keegan is majoring in kinesiology, applying to TA school, and is currently looking for jobs to gain more clinical experience. So if you have any hookups, let us know, okay? Keegan has been a standout performer in the classroom and on the competition floor. She's maintained a 4.0 at William and Mary and is on the student athlete advisory committee. When I first met Keegan, we were at Woodward Gymnastics camp, and I just remember thinking, man, kid has got some ups. She was tiny but mighty. Well, you know, things haven't changed, right? We're gonna miss Keegan's fierceness and dedication to her craft. You are a role model for sure, and I can't wait to see what you do next. We love you, and go Ravens. Amanda Jackson, come on up, girl.
Yeah, Amanda!
Oh, you got some fans? Got some fans? Amanda is majoring in business analytics with a concentration in management and organizational leadership, as well as minoring in psychology. As I look back at Amanda's time here as a freshman versus now, I can say she has truly grown. She is one of the most down-to-earth people and will give anyone a chance. She is the carpool guru and makes sure everyone has a ride to practice. I hope she continues to practice her Spanish. Dora and Arthur, I got you. Next year, she'll be working as an associate for Chess Consulting LLC in Reston, Virginia. Chess Consulting LLC is a business management consulting firm that works with companies to advise on complex accounting and risk management, dispute resolution, investigations, and government contract regulatory compliance. Kill it out there in the real world. We love you. Abigail? All right. Abby lives by the quote, stay determined. The first time she had to stay determined was when she applied to William & Mary. We won't go into that, but she knows how proud I am for her that day. She stayed determined. Abby is a kinesiology major with a pre-med concentration. She's applying to veterinary school for the 2024 cycle while taking a gap year and looking for a job as a full-time vet. Her current goal is to gain more clinical experience to enhance her application. Abby's love for animals is evident. She will be getting a dog right after graduation. Her and I have been going back and forth with that, whether or not it was a good idea, but Abby wins, she gets the dog. We look forward to seeing you thrive in vet school. We love you. All right, last but not least, Emma. Jokes. All right, Emma is majoring in kinesiology with a concentration in allied health and a minor in psychology. She has also maintained a 4.0, but I hope I haven't fixed that. While taking a gap year after undergrad, she will be working on getting her personal training certification. Then she will pursue physical therapy or physician's assistant program. This girl is the epitome of hard work. She will go above and beyond anything you ask her to do. Her athleticism has increased over the years, and I am so proud at how far she has come. Emma's passionate voice is what starts us all at each meet in the team huddle. She knows how to get the team hyped. I am honestly going to miss making fun of the way she runs across the gym, little inside joke. Emma, good luck in all that you do. We love you and are rooting for you. Go Ravens. about this group right here. This group has been through lots of ups and downs, but in the end, I hope what you achieved here at William & Mary's and with this team outweigh any obstacle. You've received a top-notch education with a strong support system. You will go far in your careers, but I hope your hearts will stay close to this team.
Fans, please put your hands together one more time for our graduating class of Tribe Gymnasts. Please stay tuned as we calculate the final score for today's match. And now, fans, here are today's unofficial final results. In first place, on vault with a score of 9.8, Lola Sepulveda for Bridgeport. In first place, on uneven bars with a score of 9.725, Sarah Kuper for the Tribe. In first place on beam with a score of 9.65, both Keegan Schaefer and Nicole Chauvenet. And in first on floor with a score of 9.825, Keegan Schaefer for the Tribe. Today's all-around champion with a score of 37.725, Lola Sepulveda. We will now announce the unofficial final team scores. In second place, with a total score of 189.70, Bridgeport. And coming out on top today, with a total team score of 191.375, your William & Mary Tribe. Thank you for attending today's Women's Tribe Gymnastics meet. We will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. against Fisk. Don't forget to dig out your pink gear for our pink meet. For more information about the team schedule, visit tribeathletics.com. Be sure to stop by the concourse on your way out to grab autographs with the team. Thank you again for coming out to today's match, and drive home safely. As always, go Tribe!